Record. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mercury, who's no longer in retrograde. Tried to go live on radical astrology, but for some reason, he didn't want me to do that today. So we're on my page.
Can we tell him that he's not retrograde anymore? It's
Yeah,
like
can we please?
Mercury.
I know he's in shadow, but can he just please knock it off? Anywho's, sorry, folks, if you are catching this on replay and you were expecting it on radical astrology and you don't happen to be one of my Facebook friends, terribly apologetic here. But the replay will be available. We'll get it on radical astrology and YouTube channels and cosmic reflections and whatever have you. Anyway, hello, I'm Julie Sherwood. I'm from your best.
Maria Schumacher.
There you go. My co-host, who's very patient with me as I'm clicking all the dang buttons. And I'm from Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching. I do constellational astrology, root cause therapy methodology, Reiki master, all these wonderful things. And I am joined by my lovely co-host, Maria Schumacher, who is...
I am also a true constellational 13 sign astrologer. I am a practicing witch, among other things. I have a website, venus-13.com. Please check it out. Oh, side note, I just put out my first newsletter. For those of you who know you should have gotten it but didn't, please look in your spam mail because apparently a couple of people it went to their spam because they've never heard of me before. So venus-13.com. I do a daily astro kind of check the temperature of the day, a little daily astro blurb on radical astrology and cosmic reflections. And here we are.
We're trying.
Sorry, we're a little frazzled. This sort of like, why can't we get on? Got us a little weird. So
it's
bear with us, everybody.
apparently Mercury's not done with us yet. And he actually rules my chart and I do all the technical stuff to get us going. So he's got some messages for me. He and I are going to talk later. Be that as it may, here we are with a new moon who will actually perfect in what, about 6 hours, give or take?
No, 3.
3.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
Mercury.
Yeah.
It's brain's not working today.
Yep.
But at any rate, we're going to talk to you all about this new moon in Aries, not Taurus, Aries. No, use your Stellarium, your Skyview app, go out there tonight and go see where the sun and the moon happen to be showing up and you'll see it's in Aries. So, yes.
I have a picture for that.
Oh, yes, you do.
Mom will share that screen.
Okay. There it is.
There it is. Can everybody see it?
It's coming up on Facebook right now. And there it is.
Excellent. Yep. 2350 where I am, which is Eastern US. Moon, Sun, Aries.
Yes.
Venus is also in Aries. Uranus is just at actually the tail end of Aries. He's just barely at the cusp of Taurus. And here's Jupiter conjunct Algol.
Yep.
So there's our sky.
So lest you question us, there it is. There's the proof. So what's the flavor? What's the flavor of our new moon, my friend?
The flavor of the new moon in Aries is very much one of take conscious action. That's been a theme that's been building for a week or so now, kind of ever since the sun moved into Aries along with the stellium in Pisces, right? So we've got a lot of Pisces activated and a lot of Aries activated at the same time, which equals conscious action.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As you cross over from that higher connection to the higher, greater God, source, whatever you want to call it, the intuition, the higher self from Pisces, and you get ready to take that action. This is the bridge where we are right now with everything that's going on in the sky. So speaking of, do we have a beautiful sky chart?
Yes. Let's share that.
Let's share that.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, let me know when you see that.
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and
And I'm sharing the wrong one. Hang
oh,
on.
oh. He's really not done with us.
You know, yeah.
And I was really
This one was me. This one was me. Okay. How about now?
it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. We have that like radio delay. There it is. Now we're on Facebook with it. Okay. So tell us about this new moon, my friend. What do we got going
Okay.
on in that corner of the world?
Yeah. So here we are. Um, new moon is sadly going to perfect not quite when we can see it, right? The moon has set here us in the northern hemisphere and we can't see, but that's okay. Way down here, we've got moon and sun conjoined in Aries right between Uranus and Venus.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Uranus, it says 0 degrees Taurus on, on my chart here, but 14 seconds in, I think that according to International Astrology Union boundaries, he's still in Aries, technically. He's not quite there yet. And even at this 14 degrees, we can still count him as an Aries participant. So that makes a stellium in the constellation of Aries right now.
Yes.
There, if you look over here, you'll see that the sun and the moon are conjunct each other, conjunct Venus, conjunct Jupiter, conjunct Uranus. So it's conjunction junction over here. There are a lot of people playing in this sandbox.
Yes.
Over here, next door in Pisces, we still have Mercury, we still have Chiron, we still have Mars, and we still have Neptune. So stellium, stellium.
Yeah, a lot of energy in that sector of the chart.
For sure. In addition, this this sun moon union is sextile Saturn, right? So there's a creative connection with Saturn in Aquarius. Pin that because we can come back to it. There's a biquintile connection up to Lilith, Black Moon. Both of these, right? Lilith, Black Moon, and Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius talks about the foundations that we're building for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's moving direct, so there's a building rather than a dismantling. There's
Right.
more building rather than dismantling. So, and with that creatively coupled to the new moon in Aries, there's that action again, taking conscious action. And so the conscious action we take is going to be directly building the foundations of our future.
And especially with that Aquarian, yeah, the future for the collective, for the greater good of all, not just for the immediate little sphere that is just yours. You know, it's bigger than that. And it's also technology too, you know, visionary, innovative, revolutionary.
Yes. Yeah. Revolutionary, evolutionary
Yes.
as
Yeah.
as well. Technology can be used to advance evolution, however you describe that.
Right.
We can debate whether or not evolution is actually a natural process or it's something that, can be monkeyed with. But that may be a whole nother, we may need more cocktails for that one. I don't know if we're ready.
Happy hour is limited.
Exactly.
Because then the full menu comes out afterwards, you know.
Exactly.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the whole concept of Mars in Pisces? We've talked about it as in terms of a spiritual warrior, but I love how you reframed that. So how about you share that with us?
Sure. So Mars in Pisces, right, has just ended just slipped out of a conjunction with Neptune, right? Mars is the planet of action. Traditionally, and I say traditionally in I think the short term, he's associated with war, with
Mhm.
martial activities, with fighting, with warfare, with soldiers,
Aggression.
aggression, that kind of thing. When really it's action. It's just focused, directed action. In Pisces, he's more, we could think of him as the spiritual activist. People use the term spiritual warrior, but I prefer spiritual activist because you don't want to be a warrior necessarily and evoke that fighting. I don't want to be a warrior anymore, a spiritual warrior. I don't want to be fighting for my beliefs. I want to be standing up for them. I don't want to be fighting against your beliefs. I want to be um, actively stating mine and actively accept trying to understand yours. So there's just, I prefer activist. I prefer spiritual activist instead of spiritual warrior.
And that's very Piscean, right? It's having that compassionate understanding, because again, we have the two arcs with the string. And this is an opportunity for us to be that string. We each stand up for each side of the arc, but we
Yes,
do it in a compassionate way.
yes,
So spiritual activist, conscientious action, conscious
exactly.
action.
Conscious action again. So we've got that sort of from two different directions. And frankly, I think that's one of the things that we are trying to work out in the collective. Like,
Mhm.
how can we be activists without turning into warriors? You know, how can we stand up for our beliefs while at the same time not trampling anybody else's?
And I think this goes to that Saturn discussion too, because this is the
Yeah.
opportunity to build those kinds of foundations using this energy of Mars as he's sitting in those stars right now. And
Yes.
and this Aries new moon is still a baby, but it's an opportunity to really come at it from that perspective with all this energy we just brought forward from Pisces and do it from that place of conscientiousness, if you will.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, we had the brilliant new moon eclipse in Pisces, which really had the effect of sort of making everything new
Yes,
again, right? A return to innocence that we kind of need to get out of our own way for a number of things, or at least to, advance to the next level without the baggage.
right.
Um, Pisces allows for a greater view, a wider view of things. And that's why Mars in Pisces, I think activist is just a better term for it because he has a wider view of the whole situation.
Right.
Um, Aries can have a more focused, more narrow view, but this Aries is coming at it from the point of what he loves,
Yes.
not just what stirs him up, not just what makes him angry.
And what's the energy right behind that new moon that's adding to that? She's coming up in the behind them.
Yes.
Venus.
Yes, she's right there with those. So the emphasis being on just the simple value of life. Aries is step one, right? It's associated with that first house, new beginning, life force energy. And life force is a great depiction of Aries, that the force that just makes things grow, the
Yes.
force that just, turns a seed into the mighty oak tree, that kind of thing. Um, and there's value in that, and the focus is there now with Venus right behind this new moon.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. She's done. In fact, you talked a little bit about that in the daily today, about how she and the moon had a little conversation about just the pure simplicity of joy.
Yes, yes, yeah, just what do you enjoy? And so I think that flavor is going to be in this next lunar cycle.
Mhm.
right? This we have a we had a little progression here. How did we put it, Julie? In Sagittarius, we had the bright idea, and
Yeah,
in Capricorn, we created the plan to bring the bright idea through. And in Aquarius, we kind of tested the idea to see if it was going to be good for the collective. And in Pisces, we we were made new again. We expanded our vision of everything and
transcendent in essence, right?
transcended, kind of.
Coming
Yeah,
up
yeah,
from the point of seeing it from everybody, seeing it from that all that is space. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And now here in Aries, we are beginning the journey.
yep.
We're beginning to take that conscious action and being conscious of the actions we're taking and sextile Saturn, how that is playing into what we're building. How are our conscious actions creating our future? So, and this is definitely something that you want to be conscious of the future you're creating. You do not want to just leave your future to anybody else to create for you.
And you know, and it's ideally because the cosmos is so much more infinitely wise than we ever will be as humans.
Mm,
It's setting us up as the sun will start moving toward Uranus and Jupiter too. So it's like when we expand into that conversation that Uranus and Jupiter are having, starting into the early degrees of Taurus, what do we really value in all of this? And we don't really know what we value until we come through the stars of Aries and start putting our feet forward a little bit. Oh, nope, don't like that step. I'm going to back up and go over here.
yeah.
And I think this kind of morphs into the approach we're taking with the new moons as we talk about it from the perspective of each of the houses. So we're going to dive into that from the perspective of if you know where where the new moon is taking place in your chart, then you can understand if we say, okay, this is how those of you that have it in the first house will experience it, or things you can do to use the energy and flow, then you can personalize it for yourself. So,
Mhm.
and then get ready for that conversation with the Jupiter, Uranus, or Dave and Big Poppy, as we so affectionately call him, because Taurus is going to ask you to look at it from your own personal point of view of what you value intrinsically and extrinsically.
Yes.
And this
And especially
conversation,
when, yeah, when Uranus gets there, for sure.
yeah,
Right. Uranus gets fully in Taurus.
yep.
It's going to want you to know what you value and express it.
And this conversation between Jupiter and Uranus happens only every 14 years. So this is a big one. This is setting the stage for another chunk of a chapter in your life, not only you as an individual, but for us as a collective whole, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so shall we dive in? Let's start with the first house.
Sure. Yay. Oops. Grabbed the wrong thing. Okay. So if this new moon is happening in your first house, actually, before we do that, I'm going to
Yes,
just back up a little bit and say that because this is happening in Aries, right? And because Aries is associated with taking action, we thought that a way to work with these energies during the next cycle is to do some sort of physical activity, right? Some sort of physical movement based on which house this happens in for you.
yep, yep,
So,
yep. Aries
yeah,
is that bold step forward.
exactly. And there's going to be that bold step forward. And there's going to be a combination of, just sort of a general action and then an acknowledgement of what lights you up, of what you enjoy.
Right,
So again, that emphasis, because Venus is with us here, that emphasis on enjoyment and the value of life and pleasure. Oof.
exactly,
Oh, all right.
exactly.
If this new moon is happening in your first house, um, you're probably going to take action with regard to your body.
Hmm?
And mostly, I would say to your appearance, how you present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
take out you get a different hairstyle, maybe get some new clothes, um, wear makeup a little differently, wear no makeup, grow a beard, shave a beard, something to do with your appearance. A change in your appearance will probably be what you're drawn to. And then frankly, just enjoying your body,
Mhm.
you know, like appreciating your body, showing your body some love, loving what really works about your body.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who, like me, is kind of stuck in the what isn't perfect and doesn't work about your body, maybe knock that shit off. just, you know, just show yourself some love.
Try a different color. Try a different, physical activity that you've never done before, where you move your body in a different way, and that's the other thing is part of this too, with it being Aries and it being new. I'm going to invite people to consider that whatever house it is for you and the activity we talk about, consider doing it a different way than you've ever done before.
Mhm.
If you traditionally are somebody who wears, the color blue all the time, as I'm sitting here in the color blue, try wearing the complementary color to it. Try wearing a different style. Just play with it a little bit and see how it resonates with you. We're trying to create new energy here. So,
Yes. And if you've been having trouble seeing yourself in a positive light, little changes like that can help.
mhm.
All I see is flaws. Well, then change your lighting, right? You
Yeah.
know, if you don't like the wart in the middle of your head, then part your hair differently so it covers it. Just you know what I mean? Just
Yep. Yep.
blah blah.
Second house.
Second house, um, conscious intended action toward your resources. And and help me out here, Julie. Words.
Well, the second house is relative to Taurus. So again, it's those internal and external resources. Now, internal would be like self-confidence, self-esteem, because again, this is about the individual, right? This house is the one, not in conjunction with other. But I would invite people to consider the idea that for this specific iteration, we want to look at external resources. We want the physical context of the second house, right? As opposed to, how
That's
can I do
it.
something different for my self-worth? I want to
Yeah.
do something different for something I can use one of my five senses for, or food in the cupboard, or digging in the garden, or whatever else.
Well, and thank you for that. That got me on the back track. And there's also, maybe seeing what you have for resources, right? Seeing resources differently, right? Okay, maybe I don't have a huge bank account, but what else have I got for a resource?
Yep.
Um, Maybe you've got income streams that you'll think of a new income stream,
Mhm.
or you'll think of a new way to grow your own food, or you'll think of something, just seeing your resources differently.
And again, it's also using your five senses in a physical way. Maybe it's trying to connect to some different music using sound, different aromatherapies, different scents. Plant different flowers in the garden that you've never planted before, says the lady who has lilacs behind her. Things like that. But again, we want to encourage you to take that fool's journey that we've talked about before and step off the abyss a little bit.
Yeah.
Trust that you'll fly with something new.
Yeah.
All right. What do we have for our third house, peoples?
Third house, the house of I think. A new action toward teaching or studying something, you learning something new and enjoying the process of learning,
Mhm.
right? So again, there's a doing something new and enjoying something that you enjoy.
And
So third
and or
house,
teaching.
yes.
Take something you have a passion and a knowledge about, and maybe hold a little class, or talk to your neighbors about it at coffee, or whatever it happens to be. Teach somebody something new that you've never done before.
Mhm.
So, or read a different book, a different genre, or
Yes.
whatever. Again, something new and different. So that's our third house. And again, enjoy it. We want to keep emphasizing this is the simple joy. Don't make it complicated. Aries does not invite complexity. Aries is, again, that little kid that just goes out for the sake of going out and having fun.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And doesn't question it too much.
right. And our fourth house people.
Fourth house, I feel new action in regards to your home. You're going to be about, I think, comfort, move your furniture around, renovate, redecorate, right? Paint your bathroom, something like that. Get new towels, landscape, and anything to just change up your living environment. Consult a feng shui person. Get the energy moving around in a different way. But again, do it in a way that feels fun, that feels enjoyable to you. Don't I would suggest try not to look again at your house from the angle of flaws. Look at it from possibilities. Like, oh, I've always wanted to have blue curtains. You get those blue curtains.
Yeah.
Right? Not, oh, my house is a piece of shit and it needs to be torn down. We want to enjoy what we're doing. We don't want to focus on what isn't working. Because frankly, like you say, Aries does not invite complexity. He's not really aware of what isn't working yet. He just knows what he likes.
Yep.
He
And
just
I
knows what
think,
he
and I was going to say, and I think too, with the fourth house, the I feel, go to a place in your home where you feel the most connected and the most joy. And then
yeah,
look at that space. And it doesn't have to be the whole room. You could change up photos on a wall. You could put new plants in there. It's something super simple, but different. Like Maria said, maybe move the furniture around. There's no investment in that, but some time and a little oomph, you know?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Never thought about facing the chair toward the window at sunset. Wow, look at that beautiful thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there's your fourth house. Fifth house.
Fifth house, a new action towards self-expression, a new action towards self-expression,
Yes.
right? So, um, I, art, 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 art comes to mind. Like, let yourself art, and the more tactile, the better. Finger paint, sculpture, dance, maybe a new way of playing music or a sport. Just play,
And
right?
do it from the perspective of a little kid. If
Yeah,
you have not played like a child in a long time, go watch children play. They don't, they just play. Whereas we as adults tend to go, okay, I got a sport and I'm going to do it for 2 hours and I got all these rules. No, go out and jump rope, go hopscotch, go play on the monkey bars, whatever it is, do it as a child. Leo wants the child to play.
that's right. He learns by doing, right?
Yes,
He doesn't want to have to learn how to do it first. Well, I've always wanted to play tennis, but so maybe I should take lessons. Or maybe you should just pick up a racket and slam a ball against your garage door,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or build something out of Legos that you've never built before, but from the eyes of a child,
Yes.
right? Fifth house is associated with Leo. Leos like to play.
Yep. Yep. So tapping into just that simple joy of playing and self-expression in the simplest way possible.
Yep, yep. Okay, sixth house.
Sixth house. Speaking of Leo, here's my cat wanting attention. Sixth house, the house of I do. Probably new action toward your health routine, personal hygiene, health maintenance, something that improves your body, your fitness, your strength, and flexibility,
Mhm.
right? A new health routine. Now, this can be really good if like I've tried everything and nothing's worked. If there's like a situation where I've tried everything and nothing's worked, try something new. Try something new, or just lean into the fact that you're healthy.
Yes, yes. And just one little tiny change in your routine. You
Yeah.
know, drive a different way to work. Do your walk in the evening instead of the morning. You know,
Maybe,
one
yeah, take
simple
a
little thing.
shower in the evening instead of the morning.
Right.
Occasionally, something like that. Change up your health routine. Get a new toothbrush.
Yeah. anything. Try something new and different. And
Yeah.
again, simple joy. It doesn't have to be something that is like, oh God, how many times do I have to tell myself I have to lose 15 pounds and I have to do, stop. No,
Yeah.
simple, simple. Walk a different direction around the block when you do your daily walk. Can be that simple.
Add a stretch into your morning. Like, it feels really good when I, move my hips in a certain way. Okay, do that.
Yeah, yeah. Or every hour that you're sitting at a desk at work, take 2 minutes to stand up and stretch.
That's a good one.
Little things, simple, simple, simple. So,
That feel good.
yes, yes, we want to enjoy this. Venus is asking us to enjoy it.
Mhm.
Where do we take the pleasure in it?
Even sixth house things that are associated with Virgo. Yeah,
Yeah,
Virgo. We're
yeah,
talking to you. It's okay to enjoy it.
yeah, it really is. Virgo ascending. Um, seventh house.
Seventh house. Okay. The house of I relate. Seek out new relationships or new ways of relating to your existing relationships. Uh, Less hermiting, more visiting, right? I think that this is going to be, and when we say these, like, go out and do them, there's also a great likeliness that you will be moved to do
Yeah.
these things. If this is
Mhm.
happening in your seventh house, you will probably find yourself out there more. You will probably find yourself in the path of new partners. You'll probably find yourself meeting new people or feeling more gregarious just without even trying.
Well, and that one time where somebody walked past you and you spent 2 minutes talking and you go, God, I wish I would have spent another 5 minutes. I really wanted to know about this.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah,
That person that's reading the book at the coffee shop that you happen to walk into and the book's title interests you, walk up to them kindly. Hey, that book sounds really interesting. Would you mind telling me a little bit about it? Walk into a bookstore that has a book club and you've never done it before, and you're going to meet people, a completely different group of people.
exactly.
Have
Yeah, this
fun.
have fun. This isn't the time to be like, well, I should spend more time with great Aunt Bertha. Always insults me every time I go there, but I should do that. No, 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 no. No shoulding.
Right.
Frankly, if you don't enjoy spending time with Aunt Bertha, maybe don't spend time with Aunt Bertha right now. Let yourself find new people. Aunt Bertha gonna be okay.
Yeah. Or maybe have a different pair of glasses on in how you view certain relationships in your life.
Could be too.
Somebody who may have given you a little bit of every time you see them, maybe flip it around and say, why is this person in my life? But don't make it complicated. Don't make it
Exactly.
complicated. Think of it from the point of view of a child again. The little kid that just wants to know more.
And really wants to love you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most little kids, until they've had that scared out of them, just come at you with an opportunity. Hi, I'm here
Yeah.
to love you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Eighth house.
Eighth house is going to have some fun. New action toward trust and vulnerability, especially when it comes to combining resources or sexual encounters,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, eighth house is the house of I experience and transform, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of big, bold things associated with this house: death, sex, transformation. But eighth house can have a hard time letting themselves allow trust and vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
right? Allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing yourself to trust another, explore the mystery of other people's resources, or rather, how other people are a resource,
Mm. Mm-hmm. There's that
right?
trust and vulnerability right there too.
There's that trust and
Yeah.
vulnerability. New sexual encounters or new sexual adventures could also be in your stars this month.
Mhm, mhm. A different
Something
way to
maybe
relate to your partner. Yeah, absolutely.
talk about trust and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Um,
I had this image of the little kid opening the closet where all the little skeletons are, right? The adult
yeah.
is like, yeah, no, I think there's about 6 of them in there. I don't want to see them. But the little kid is like, what's in the closet? So just be willing to play with it a little bit and allow yourself that opportunity to be a little bit vulnerable. Again, you don't have to peel back all the wounds. This is just an opportunity to just go a little deeper. That little kid opening the closet to see what's behind the door with curiosity,
Mhm,
childlike curiosity. It doesn't have to hurt.
mhm.
Childlike curiosity. The other thing the eighth house is all about too is the occult and the mysterious. So
Yeah.
this might be an opportunity to learn tarot for the first time, or,
Interesting.
explore some of the more hidden mysteries that have, come
You
up.
know, yes, maybe you've always wanted to get a psychic reading.
Yeah.
Do that. Maybe you've always wanted to, there's that occult bookstore at the end of the street I've never been in. Do that, pick up a book on something different or cast a card for yourself and see what you get. You know what I mean? It's just the possibilities are endless.
Or connect to a deceased loved one. Use somebody who has the ability to connect,
That's
or
true.
you yourself just open up your
Yeah.
own receptiveness. I really miss grandma. I really would love to get a message from grandma and just think of the little kid that just talks to anybody.
Yes. Contact a psychic, contact a medium, open yourself up to it.
Yeah.
Um, whatever sort of taboo subject has fascinated you, do that. Maybe indulge in a sexual fantasy.
Hmm.
Like, I've always kind of wanted to blah blah.
Yeah. Or explore it, just learn about it even. Ninth house.
Ninth house, I expand. Travel. Ninth house, travel. Take action toward expanding your horizons, which is travel just in a nutshell. Explore new philosophies and beliefs. Just expand, yeah. Action toward expanding your horizons. Travel is the simplest, easiest way to do that. But also, like, you know, I I'm kind of curious about Zen Buddhism. I'm kind of curious about Zoroastrianism. That a new philosophy.
Or culture or tradition,
Yes.
or a whole different way of life. I've always wanted to know how people in this part of the world have lived. Now, granted, we were talking about taking some sort of physical approach to this, but understandably, not everybody can jump on a plane and go on an African safari tomorrow. But you can explore it.
Hey,
You
but there's
can
YouTube.
take actual action to explore the idea. I see myself on an African safari in 6 months. I'm going to go find out about that
Yes.
or talk to people who have done it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
For sure.
travel beyond your little sphere. Travel in the ninth house isn't, go an hour away to the park you've never visited before in a new town. It's like, hey, maybe I'm going to do a weekend trip somewhere. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be crazy. Just go someplace you've never been before. That's
Yeah.
beyond your little bubble, right? So,
Expanding your horizons,
yeah,
new philosophies, new beliefs. Yeah. And putting yourself in the middle of a different culture. And again, not everybody can afford to travel,
right.
but again, there's YouTube.
Yeah,
You can explore cultures from the comfort of your own couch in a lot of ways
yep,
if you just click on it.
yeah,
Do a Google search for somewhere new, or set the intention to be in Kuala Lumpur by this time next year.
yeah,
The
yeah.
put
And
action toward
if
getting where you want to go.
well, and I was thinking too, if the person in your household happens to be the eighth house person and you're the ninth house person, you could really deeply explore like occult mysteries from ancient civilizations, or I mean, you could really have some fun with this,
Yeah,
right?
you really could have something like this. Hey, let's go to the British Library to explore the occult section, right?
Yeah.
That's a trip.
Never know what you might find. Never
Then
know. And once you've discovered all this, then you might meet somebody who's got a 10th house. And what
you
would
might
the
meet
10th
somebody who's
house
got a
people
10th.
be doing?
Yes. 10th house is the house of I have purpose. new action toward building or rebuilding foundations for societal structures from the authentic you.
Yep.
Stand up for what you really feel and build from there.
Mhm. Mhm.
So all of that, yeah, all of that experimenting in the eighth and ninth house can lead to some really concrete ideas for that 10th house sort of action. But yeah, if you're in the 10th house, rebuild a foundation for societal structure from the authentic you. And that means that you'll probably find areas in which you've not been authentic or been less than authentic,
Mhm.
or that something in you has changed, right? Like what you were basing, your old paradigms are just not your operating system anymore.
Well, and I'm thinking also too, because Saturn rules the 10th house. We were talking about, the placement of Saturn in Aquarius. The
Yeah.
people with this new moon in their 10th house could really be the ones that harness that energy of building the new foundations for the greater good. I mean,
Yes.
literally, like maybe you're building a new community garden somewhere, or maybe you're involved in building some sort of structure that helps in some sort of, health and human services service to your big community, right? Creating some sort of nonprofit where you build the structure around that. Granted, it's a more physical structure, but you got to have some rules and boundaries and things like that. I think some of these 10th house people are really going to take that step forward and be the ones that are going to harness this stuff for the collective.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we're certainly seeing in the collective right now where the kinks are in the systems, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we're certainly seeing where the systems are cracked. 10th
Mhm.
house people are going to be the ones that are shoring up those cracks,
Yep.
right? That get the ideas and that are doing the work toward making. But again, it's got to come from the heart. It's a little harder. It's a little harder for our Capricorn people to enjoy things, kind of like our Virgos, but our Capricorn people also can have a little hard time just relaxing and not taking things too seriously.
Right.
Um, but so in that case, yes, we're seeing that some very serious things need work on. And yes, you will tend to put yourself toward the serious things, but that's also where you feel most alive,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I've known Capricorn, very heavy Capricorn people, 10th house people that are just like, no, really, I've never felt more alive than when I am trying to solve a problem.
Mhm.
I
Go
You
for
do
it. We need
you.
those people.
We need those people. We need those people who are going to pour through all of the law books and try to be like, oh, okay, yes,
Well,
this
it's
is
the engineers, it's the architects, but again, think about it from the perspective of the little kid with the Lego set,
yes.
right? And for some of you who might be a little, Tinker Toys or Lincoln Logs. I mean,
Like
this is
logs. I
I
was
know.
just
This
that.
is the kid
Yes.
that's building, or the sand castles, the kid that's on the beach building all the sand castles because they want the big sand castle for everybody to see. Do
Yep.
it with that in your mind's eye as you consider these structures.
Yeah.
And like Maria said, when there's cracks in it, maybe you don't just spackle it over. Maybe you pull that one piece of wood out and put a different material in there to build that in a better way,
Yeah.
you know?
And little kids usually aren't afraid to start over either.
No.
They're like, all right, this is not working. Let's start over.
Yeah, or the one that comes along and kicks the sandcastle, right?
Well, he's just the shit.
Yeah.
That's just a little shithead.
Yep. Yep. That's Mars, the spiritual warrior, and we don't want that. We don't want that. We want them to be a little bit nicer about it. Be assertive, but not aggressive and not
There it
mean.
is.
And our 11th house peoples. So this
11th
relates to
house.
Aquarius and Uranus.
Yep. I have ideals. And this is going to be simply taking action that supports the greater good.
Mhm.
Action that supports the greater good. Maybe you guys will be like, what we really need is a food pantry.
Yeah.
You know what we really need is a children's playground. My grandkids need a sandbox, something like that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where it's a community or group greater group-minded thing.
Yeah. And you may do it in a way that has that kind of eye to the future too, because Aquarius is all about that visionary, futuristic. You're not doing it for just this immediate moment. You're doing it so that it can sustain in the long run. Or you might do it in a way that's uniquely different than it's ever been done before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you build that playground out of clay or something. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways you can look at how Aquarius can do this evolutionarily, right? So, and then if you have a friend in the 12th house, they can bring that imagination on board too. And so tell us about the 12th house.
There it is. Okay. 12th house, the house of I surrender. Take new action in regards to the way you connect to spirit.
Mhm.
Maybe start a new ritual, a new meditation habit, something that if you spend a lot of time meditating, maybe try walking instead. Just
Mhm.
change up the way in which you connect to your higher self, to spirit.
Yeah, automatic writing, meditation labyrinths. There's all different ways that you can, but it's an action piece. It's not
Yes,
just sitting and being. It's like, what can I incorporate into my spiritual practice in an active way?
in
Take
an action.
a step, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is we're building this for the future. I mean, this momentum as we've come through Pisces, again, is getting us ready, I really think, for this movement into Taurus, where we meet the two, Big Dave and Poppy, or Poppy and
Yes.
Big Dave and Big Poppy. I don't know. You tell me, they're your friends.
Uncle Dave and Big Poppy.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Because I think we have to have that childlike wonder, but we have to build toward that.
Yeah.
Because it's setting the stage, remembering that these transits are for the collective. So it's setting the stage for the collective, but it's how your chart interacts as to how you respond to this energy potential, which is why we bring the houses into it, right?
Yes, yes. It's how these are movements in the collective heavens, right? It's happening. The same thing is happening for everybody, but it's going to be affecting you on an individual level based on your own chart. So
Exactly, exactly. Which is why we like to bring the houses here, and then in the full moon recording, we talk about where your natal moon is in relation to what's going on with the full moon. So, do we have any parting words, and maybe take our share screen off and see if there's any questions? Somebody did ask, how do you know which house this is
did they
happening?
find us?
Yeah, a few did. I have one that
Oh,
said y'all are
yeah.
hard to find. So again, if you're catching us on replay, profuse apologies. Have a few choice words for Mr. Mercury because he's still in the final stages of coming out of his retrograde shadow. He rules my chart and I'm running the show on the controls. So
Well, I still conjunct Chiron too, so
yes, yes, little
how
bastard.
do you, so the question was, how do you know where your
Yes,
natal moon is?
yes,
Oh, you need to have a birth chart.
yes. But if you don't, if you have a birth chart, but you don't remember the houses or whatever, all you need to know is the last like third of Aries, which part of your chart that's in, then you can go figure it out from there, right?
Yep, yep.
So,
But and if you don't have your own true constellational birth chart, reach out to either one of us. We'll be just happy to run it for you. And
yes.
then you will see, um, where all of your placements are. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're happy to do that because we want the whole idea is we want people to understand how to work with their own energies, their own unique blueprint. And it's important to know that. And if you don't, there's so many people on the radical astrology page that have Prometheus or other softwares that if you just put out there, say, hey, anybody willing to give me just a quick birth chart, great.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what? In fact, let me just do one more quick screen share to maybe answer that question a little better, because I remember being confused about this when I was a new fledgling too. Okay, are we seeing this?
yeah, your natal chart.
This is my natal chart. Okay, so this is my birth chart. This is where the heavens were when I was born. So for me, Aries is in my first house. That means that this new moon is happening in my first house.
Now, what to notice on Maria's is the entire Aries constellation is all in the first house. And you've got mine
Right.
available. Go ahead and pull mine up and you can see how mine actually straddles, Aries straddles two houses, but
Yep.
relative to where the moon is.
So here's Julie's birth chart. She's got Aries partly in the seventh house, partly in the eighth house. And we know that this new moon is happening kind of right here, just inside of her eighth house.
Right, because we use the equal 12 house equal house system. Okay, some astrologers will use the whole sign system. There's all different ways that people use the houses. We just resonate with the 12 equal houses.
Yep, 13 signs, 13 unique
Constellation.
sized constellations,
Mhm.
12 equal sized houses because they represent the clock. So that does give you the interesting phenomenon of having up to three signs in one house,
Yep.
right? Three constellations in one house. But it also adds an interesting flavor to the houses that we quite like.
Yeah.
Um, and the 12 house corresponds to the clock, right? It corresponds to time. So this is literally the planets moving through time and our relationship to that. So anyway.
Well, and I'll add another layer on that. One of the reasons I like the 12 house system, again, for all of you out there listening, whatever resonates with you, if you're an astrologer yourself, totally honor and respect that. And for people who get readings, try different ones, see what resonates with you. But the other piece of it is because the houses relate to different areas in your life, I see all of them having an equal weight in our life, our daily life, right?
Mhm.
I see the first house as the me, the one, the individual has just as much weight as the seventh house relating with the other, and
Right.
so forth and so on. And again, different perspectives, different approaches, doesn't mean the one's right or wrong. It's just whatever resonates with how you read charts. And it's just like anything, any other divination tools or whatever, tarot cards, you might be somebody that uses Rider Waite, or you might use Druidcraft. It's just whatever resonates with how you approach the craft. So,
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, there are certain general guidelines and
absolutely.
rules and interpretations and things that will cross any system. But for the most part, how the houses are divided up and even how the constellations are divided up is open to the reader's own choice.
Right. Well, and again, we're trying to put, human descriptions on something that is the cosmos, right? So this is
Yeah.
why when we get in these discussions about, like when Maria talked about Uranus being just right on the cusp of the first degree, or not even the first degree of Taurus, well, another boundary definition might view it slightly differently.
Mhm.
And that's okay, because again, you're trying to draw a line on something that is so vast,
Yeah.
but for the sake of relating to it in a human way, we have to give it some definition. So just have a little bit of, understanding and leeway for that as well. When somebody says, you're in the last degrees of, or the first degrees of, just know it could go a few degrees either way. So,
Mhm.
especially if you're on a cusp, but cusp is that it's that blending of energies between the two constellations or houses, because you're right on that boundary. You're going to have that energy bleed, if you will.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's interesting. It's very interesting how we all approach this very differently. But again, apologies for those of you who were looking for us live and finding us on the replay. I'll get it posted over on Radical Astrology. We'll get it on our YouTube channels. We'll get it over on
And
Cosmic.
we'll get right with Mercury one of these days. I
I
promise.
tell you what, you know what? And he's in the stars of surrender. So you just go with it.
You
Hey, at
really do.
least I didn't lose my damn screens. There is that. I will take the victory, and even if it's small,
Take
but
the win, Julie. Take
take
the
the
win.
win. Take the win. There you go. Again, if you want to find us, Julie Sherwood, yourbesthopeswc.com. Click on services. You can see what I have to offer. And my dear co-host, Maria, where can they find you?
Yes. venus-13.com.
All right. Well, thank you, my friend. We'll see you guys in a couple more weeks with the full moon update.